Hello, my name is Emily Juling Hamilton. I am a health promotion coordinator over at Healthy Androscoggin, and today I'll be talking about why it's so important as a tenant to have a smoke and tobacco-free policy in your home or in your unit. We'll really be talking about the importance of preventing secondhand smoke exposure, what third-hand smoke is, identifying different types of tobacco, including e-cigarettes, why a smoke and tobacco-free policy is so important in your home, and what you can do. I always really like to start off with this. So something to remember, it's about the smoke, not the smoker. Before we dive in, a little bit about ourselves. Healthy Androscoggin, we're located right in downtown Lewiston, right beside Mother India. You can see on the sign right there, but we serve all of Androscoggin County. We were established in 1995, and we're a division of the Central Maine Healthcare. And we really work to create a community of thriving residents by giving individuals tools to live a healthy life. We have 5 main goals there. Here, we prevent substance misuse, we encourage tobacco-free lifestyles, we support physically active communities, we promote healthy eating, and lastly, we prevent childhood lead poisoning. So the importance of preventing secondhand smoke exposure, SHS, you kind of see that scattered through the presentation. SHS stands for secondhand smoke. The Surgeon General says there's no safe level of secondhand smoke exposure. And, there's in that secondhand smoke, it's carcinogenic, so it's cancer causing. And we know that there's no risk-free level of exposure. You'll see it right there on my slide. And even though there's maybe a ventilation system in place, it cannot remove the toxins. And also something to think about too is that secondhand smoke can travel in the air between units. So maybe your unit is tobacco free, but the unit beside you is not. That secondhand smoke from that smoking unit can travel into your unit. To continue on about secondhand smoke, again, it cannot be controlled with ventilation or like a air filter. Back in 2005, the American Society of Heating, Refrigerating, and Air Conditioning Engineers really issued their position with a document on secondhand smoke, and it really says in bold there, at present, the only means of effectively eliminating health risks associated with indoor exposure is to ban smoking activity. And like I mentioned earlier, that secondhand smoke can travel through walls and tiny spaces, whether it's electrical outlets or moving into other units. So this means, again, you might not be smoking or using tobacco in your unit, but your neighbor next door is. And that secondhand smoke can travel through into your unit. We talked about secondhand smoke, right? And that's, the smoke, I should have started with that. That's the smoke that you see, when it's exhaled from a tobacco user, or it's kind of on the end of the cigarette, you see that smoke. That's secondhand smoke. Third-hand smoke, folks, that's when you don't see it per se from the tobacco product, but you can see it on the walls. You can smell it in carpets. You can smell it on a couch. Think about too, maybe someone that's a tobacco user, you can smell it. They're maybe not smoking at that very moment. They're using tobacco at that very moment, but you can smell it on their jacket or in their car. And really, third-hand smoke is the leftover contamination that persists after the burning tobacco is extinguished. After the cigarette's put out, you can still smell it. And think of looking at that image. I mean, that's a wall where there was maybe like a bureau, and that third-hand smoke had stuck to the walls. Something to think about too, the children are most vulnerable. Their lungs are still growing and developing. And so this third-hand smoke can cause increased respiratory rate. And also think about too, toddlers, babies crawling on the ground. So they're ingesting those toxins that are left over after the tobacco product has been put out. So that third-hand smoke, they're ingesting that when they're crawling. Or thinking of too, if you have a jacket that you've smoked in, you're not smoking at the time, but you're holding that baby's breathing in that third-hand smoke. This just takes a look at different tobacco products, right? I'm not just talking about cigarettes when I use the word tobacco. There's different types. There's cigars, there's chewing tobacco, snus or snus. Those are chewing tobacco. It's kind of the overarching term is smokeless tobacco. And then the snus or snus is like little packets that you put, and that's the smokeless tobacco, you put it in like the lining of your gums. Cigarettes also, obviously. And then on the far left, that's the tobacco plant, and the tobacco plant is then dried. And that's kind of what you see on the left-hand side. Hookah also is a tobacco product. It can be very social, and just kind of you sit around that device and kind of puff off of that mouthpiece. And the last one, I'm stumbling on my words because I don't know exactly how to say it, but I think it's called Karitek. And basically this is it's an unfiltered cigarette. It's originally from Indonesia, and it's made with a blend of tobacco, cloves, and other flavors. And in the state of Maine, you must be 21 years or older to purchase tobacco. And again, there's many different types, most of which are included on this page. This page takes a look at e-cigarettes or e-cigs, and there's many different types as well. And the E stands for electronic, the e-pipe, e-cigar, a vape pen. Some are kind of a larger tank type where it can be modifiable. People can put juices into these. Some are rechargeable, some you use for a certain amount of time and then you throw away. Again, this is considered a tobacco product. You must be 21 years or older to purchase these. We know that there's a lot of nicotine in these devices. We also know that there's other chemicals, and it's not just harmless water vapor that folks are vaping. And so when you think of tobacco use, this is also considered a tobacco product. And we really, truly do not recommend any youth using these products or any tobacco product. This just takes a look at why property owners are adopting, smoke-free policies. That secondhand smoke exposure, right? We talked about that. Obviously, with a tobacco product, it can be lit, whether a cigar or a cigarette, that can pose a fire danger. There can be damage to units and to buildings, whether it's that third-hand smoke, whether it's fire damage, whether it's burns in carpets and on appliances. There's turnover savings. When you have to clean, a unit after someone leaves and it's a smoke-free unit, it's less costly. Maybe there's insurance savings. Tenants can be happier and healthier. There's less liability. And there's a survey out there that tenants prefer smoke-free housing. So that's just kind of some reasons why property owners are adopting a smoke or tobacco-free policy. Besides secondhand smoke, why go smoke-free? And I talked a little bit about already the indoor property damages to units. Maybe there's a cost. There can be a significant cost to landlords and property owners, managers. It costs more money. That fire hazard we talked about. Cigarette burns, and I have some images, to whether it's carpets or countertops. And then that residual third-hand smoke that can really cling to surfaces like walls and curtains. These images just take a look at some carpet burns, right? And thinking of damages to your carpet. And then if that was to catch fire, that would be, it could cause a fire. So something to think about as well. My next one takes a look at furniture. So we've got, actually on the right-hand side, a bathroom sink, a mattress, 2 mattresses. So again, kind of wrapping our heads around what could potentially happen. And then that cigarette that third-hand smoke, that residual effect that can happen. So these are images of that surface that can cling, those toxins that can cling to walls, to carpets, and we can actually see them. So what can you do? You yourself can make house rules, your apartment rules against tobacco being used in your home or your apartment to really reduce secondhand smoke. As a family, as a unit, there's no tobacco use, there's no smoking in your unit. And folks know that when you have visitors, when you have company, when you have family and friends over, they know that there's no smoking allowed in your home or your apartment. If you are a tobacco user and you're interested in quitting, there are resources out there, one of which is the Maine Quit link, and that's a telephonic, free, confidential service in the state of Maine, and you can work with a tobacco treatment specialist, and the number's listed right there, 1-800-QUIT-NOW. That's an option as well. The last piece you can do, talk to your landlord, right? We know that majority of tenants prefer living in smoke-free environments. Talk to your landlord about it. Maybe they're interested in updating or enhancing or adopting a smoke-free policy for the entire building, for the entire property. So that's something that you could discuss as well with your landlord. And again, back to my original message. It's not about the smoke. I'm sorry. It's about the smoke. I'm all balled up. It's about the smoke, not the smoker. Right? How can we protect ourselves from secondhand smoke exposure by not allowing smoke in our homes? So what can we do? We can make rules against for our unit, for our home. We can quit if we're interested in quitting. We can talk to our landlord about adopting a smoke-free policy for the entire building. And it's not about the smoker. It's about the smoke. Again, my name is Emily Dooling Hamilton. I work over at Healthy Androscoggin as a program coordinator. If you have any thoughts or questions, my contact information, my email is right there, my phone number, and then we have some great resources as well listed on our website at healthyandroscoggin.org if you folks are interested. And I thank you very, very much for your time.